Okay.
Good afternoon, Noor. How are you doing? My name is
I'm
Erin
doing
Javaid.
good afternoon. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you. So today we'll be talking about DNA structure and replication. So we'll hop on to the objectives of our lecture, which is what is DNA? What are the characteristics of DNA, in which we'll be talking about its structure as well, what are genes, and then replication of DNA. So DNA is an abbreviation of deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so you don't have to write the whole name because it's a large name, and you could just write DNA. DNA is a double-stranded molecule which is twisted around each other and forms a helical. It is found in chromosomes, and chromosomes are found where? Can I get an answer?
In the DNA. The DNA is found in the chromosome, and the chromosomes are found in the nucleus.
Exactly.
Of the
Very
cell.
good. Very good. Excellent. And some of the DNA is also found in mitochondria. Now, DNA is a hereditary material as it carries all of our coded messages for our, systems. Everything that happens in the body, its information is written in the DNA in form of codes. Now, I want to ask you a fun question. How easy it is to obtain DNA?
We can obtain DNA basically from everywhere on the body, the fingernails, the
Good.
skin cells, or the hair.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, now next we'll be talking about the structure of DNA. So DNA has three main components. We have the phosphate group, we have the sugar group, which is the pentose sugar, which is also known as deoxyribose. We call it 5 because it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbons. And then we have base, which is a nitrogenous organic base. Now, I will be explaining the 4 different types of bases in the next slide, and there's the tiny little phosphate hanging over there. Okay, let's talk about bases of DNA. Bases of DNA are divided into 2 major groups. It's purine and pyrimidines. So purines are double ringed. So there's a 6 ring and a 5 ring fused together. And purines are adenine and guanine. And then we have pyrimidines, which is thymine and cytosine. And there are 1 ring, which is 6 carbon. Okay, let's go. Okay, I just want you to remember the most important thing here about pyrimidines and purines. Pyrimidines always bond with a purine. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so what I just said, base pairing in DNA. Now I want you to look at this picture right here. This is a unwind DNA strand. So DNA strand usually is like a circle, like a curl, like curly hair, okay? It is always like a curly hair. Now here, it's unwind, and you can see the DNA strand here, and there is cytosine and guanine. Can you tell me what is cytosine? What cytosine is, a purine or a pyrimidine?
I believe it is a purine.
It is not.
It's not a pyrimidine, sorry.
I want you to take a look at it again, okay? It's okay.
Right.
We'll get to it again. It is, purines are adenine and guanine. Okay, let's see here. So, do you remember purines bind with pyrimidines? Okay?
Yes.
Good, good. So there are 3 bonds between cytosine and guanine and 2 bonds between thymine and adenine. These are hydrogen bonds, okay? So if I give you this piece of the strand here, you can easily tell which base will go next, okay? Now, next we'll be talking about nucleotide structure. Nucleotides are formed by condensation of a pentose sugar, a phosphate group, and one of the 4 bases. So just take a look at this picture right here. These are different types of nucleotides. What differentiates them is the base pair that is going to be bonded with them. We have adenine, we have thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Next is the nucleotide bond. Now, why we're talking about bonds here? Because nucleotide is made up of small components. We want to see what is joining them, what's binding them together, like a glue, okay? What is its glue? So nucleotides are linked together by covalent bond called phosphodiester linkage right here. This is the glue. Sorry, Just give me a break. Here, this is the glue right here. This is the bond that joins nucleotide bonds. So, sorry, that joins nucleotides. So nucleotide after nucleotide after nucleotide. And then we have another strand here, conjoined together becomes the DNA. So DNA double helix structure, like right here. So one thing I want you to look at and remember is that, let's say that this is our two strands of DNA, okay? You see, this is the 5' end, and this is the 3' end. The opposite DNA strand will be here, 3' and 5'. It's always opposite, okay? And then it conjoins together. So we have our base pairs between us. So this becomes like a ladder. So these are two steps of ladder, strands of ladder, and the rungs of the ladder are made up of base pairs. So if you unwind it, this is what you get, okay? And what binds the bases together? The nucleotides are bonded together by phosphodiester bond. So what binds the bases is the hydrogen bond, okay? Next, we will go to a very important and very interesting topic, which is genes. Now, we'll go back to our slide, this one right here. What is a gene? We just studied gene here without knowing, okay? So this sequence, CG, TA, GC, this is a sequence of gene. Now, genes carry coded messages that will be giving our body the information to develop certain things. For example, brown colored eyes or blue colored eyes. What color is your eye, Noor?
It's brown.
Okay, so one of your parents had brown eyes or both of them had brown eyes, right?
Yes.
So how
Yes.
did your body knew it had to make brown eyes? Because
of the genes that had encoded the information for the brown eyes.
Exactly. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So every single thing that happens in our body, our eye color, hair color, your shape of forehead, your metabolism, your speed of metabolism, everything is already encoded in your genes, in your DNA with the help of genes. So when there is an ova and then there is a sperm, okay? When reproduction happens, the ova, the egg from the mother, the sperm from the father is carrying half of the DNA here, half of the DNA. So half of the information here, half of the information. When it fuses and an embryo is formed, that embryo contains every crucial information in the form of genes for that body to develop, okay? Let's go to a very interesting topic, which is called the DNA replication. Why do we need DNA replication? Why is DNA replication so important? My hands don't replicate. Our organs don't replicate. Then why does DNA replicate? Can you tell me?
In order for the organ specifically to function properly, we need cell replication constantly. So therefore, we need new cells for those organs.
Good.
So
You need
the
new
DNA
cells.
replication helps us. Yes.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. No, good job. So your cells need to reproduce, regenerate. So if I have a cut here, for example, I have a little bruise here, okay? So my skin is going to make new cells. Those new cells have DNA in it. So DNA will replicate when new cells will be produced. So I just want you to take a good look at this picture. So when I'm explaining to you the process of DNA replication, which is going to be words, I want you to have a better image up here. You see how it is unwinded into form of a fork, right? Okay, let's go to the 3D animation of replication. I just have put a little link to a video here. I want you to go and see this video when you're at home and after the lecture, so you will understand. This is just a very interesting way of explaining replication, and once you watch the video, you will have a better idea of replication, and then you can write about it if you like it, okay? So we have replication. It is a process by which double-stranded DNA molecule copies and develops two identical copies. It's always identical. Never, even a single gene doesn't move from here to there. The first step in DNA replication is unzipping. So it's like this, right? So it unzips and forms a fork. This is carried out, the unzipping is carried out by helicase. So if my DNA is, twisted, it will unzip or unwind with the help of an enzyme called helicase. Now, this is a little cheat code for you, like you have cheat codes in games. Any word in biology which ends with an "ase," it means it's an enzyme. Okay, so helicase breaks down the bonds between the bases, which is the hydrogen bond, and they unwind. Then the separation of two strands becomes a Y shape, and you have a template here, and you have a template here to add more bases, add more nucleotides, and make two separate strands of DNA. Okay, so like I said in the previous, in the one of the slides, that your strands are always going to be opposite. So it's going to be 3', 5'. It's going to be 5', 3'. It's always opposite. So we have two different strands because of the ending point. So in that way, one of the strand is going to be the leading strand and one of them is going to be the lagging strand. Well, what are leading strands and lagging strands? We'll be explaining in the next slide. So leading strand, what happens in a leading strand, there's during replication when it starts, there is a short piece of RNA, okay? I know you haven't studied about RNA yet, but we'll be discussing in the next lesson. A small piece of RNA, which is called the primer, produced by an enzyme called primase. So primase, primer. That primer comes and attaches itself to the leading strand, and it starts to produce bases, DNA bases. And then it removes, goes away, and DNA polymerase. Ase means what?
Enzyme.
Excellent. And binds to the leading strand and then walks along the new strand and produces complementary bases. So what's happening is that the DNA polymerase, so your RNA primer is the starter, it gives the push, and then DNA polymerase comes and adds. It's like zipping the unzipped strand again, okay? This sort of replication is called continuous replication. And then we will be going to the next slide, which is the lagging strand. Now, lagging strand, as the name suggests, lags, you know, it's not leading because leading is continuous. So what happens in lagging is that it's 5' to 3'. So what happens that numerous small RNA primers come and attach, bind to the lagging strand. So it's not continuous process, it's small little chunks. And then DNA polymerase comes and start adding those, filling those small primers, small chunks of DNA to it, which is known as Okazaki fragments. And then they are conjoined together. So this is not a continuous process. So this type of replication is called discontinuous replication because your DNA is not going simultaneously with the other one. It is joined together to small little pieces. So next, this is a group project. You guys will be divided into 4 groups, and then you will be making a gene sequence that I will be giving you, and you will be making a model out of it. Now the lecture ends, and are there any questions regarding the? Yes.
So far, I've a clear concept for the DNA replication and everything. Thank you very much, teacher.
Right. All right. Excellent, Noor. So if you have any questions after the lesson, when you go home and you're looking at the video of replication that I told you to, you have to write about it. You have any questions, just send me an email. And if you have any questions about it, you can email me. Next day, we'll go over it again. Okay?
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Noor. It was wonderful talking to you today.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.